Hey everybody, welcome to Monday Night Team Call. My name is Leah Pearson. I am an Emerald Ambassador, and tonight I'm doing my first PowerPoint. I was telling the girls that were here earlier. I'm a little nervous about making this thing work. But I am going to be sharing a little bit on networking with you tonight and wanted to do a PowerPoint so I could share like some screenshots and examples of different things that I've done in hopes that that is helpful for you and inspires you and gives you ideas as far as how to start networking a little bit more. So I am going to grab the PowerPoint, and I probably need to, do I need to share my screen first? One moment, please. You guys have to let me know if you can see it okay. Good. Thank you, Sally. Do I need to move your heads so you can see it? Or are you guys just in the way for me? Okay. So this whole call was kind of birthed back in June, I would say, because this summer I felt like things were slower in my business than I wanted them to be. And I knew that if anything was going to change in my business, it started with me. And if I wanted fresh fire in my business, it started with me. And so I took a step back and I saw I was not recruiting as much as I wanted to. So I knew that I needed to talk to more people. And if I was going to talk to more people, I needed to increase my network. And at one point over the summer, during Jewel Coaching, Fallon was talking about different resources of trusted voices in regards to who to listen to with training, because there's a lot of voices out there. And she recommended Sarah Robbins and Eric Worre. And so she was saying, just get on eBay. They've got old school CDs and you can totally get some great trainings for cheap, because there's a lot of things out there where you can pay an arm and a leg for coaches that aren't even necessarily quality coaches. And so I got on eBay because I have a 2015 minivan. And so I bought some CDs for my minivan because I knew I was going to be commuting for like a week and I wanted to do some personal growth on my commutes. And so I listened to some Sarah Robbins, and one little tidbit in there, she was talking about if you're in the building stage of your business, you need to spend 85% of your time recruiting. 85% of your time. And so I just want to ask you, are you spending that much of your time recruiting per day? Do you have enough new people that you're talking to that you're spending that much time recruiting? I knew I didn't. And so I decided that I needed to get really serious about increasing my network. So just wanted to ask you guys a couple questions to start with. How much time are you spending working per day? Like what does your work day look like? Do you have office hours? What are you doing during that time? Do you have like a routine? Do you have intentional, like this is what I'm doing during my work hours? Yes or no? You can type it in the chat if you want. And how much time are you spending on recruiting per day? Because if you don't know even what you're doing in the day, if you don't know what you're doing in, like how much time you're spending on your work day, then how do you know if that percentage is what it should be or not? So if you are in a building phase of your business, you should be spending a lot of time recruiting. Why is increasing your network important? So the baseline goal, what we talk about is kind of the standard. If you are growing your business, you need to be bringing in 3 joins per month minimum. That's kind of a minimum standard. So, and depending on your IPA, what that looks like for you, I know there's different systems of IPA. For us, we have like a 3-2-1 or an all-in option is what we provide with my team. And so that is about 40 to 100 new reach outs every single month. So depending on your IPA system, you should be looking at that many reach outs per month. This means that you should have a new list of at least 100 people to reach out to at the beginning of every single month. Do you have a list of 100 people? Do you use a list? Do you know how many people you're reaching out to each month? If you did 100 reach outs monthly, how quickly would you be running out of people or going through your current market? Networking is literally going to be a precursor to recruiting for you. Like if you want to be bringing people into your organization, you have to be continually doing networking. so that you have those people to talk to. So as far as networking goes, networking does not replace other IPA activities. So when I say that you need to increase your networking, I'm not saying stop reaching out to people. I'm not saying stop with follow-ups. I'm not saying stop with customer care. So it is essential, though, in order for you to do IPA, networking is what enables you to do that. So if you're not currently networking and adding new friends every day, then you need to add this to your workday. I know on our IPA sheets, it does say, add a couple friends on Facebook. It gives some logistics. But if you are running low in that department and you don't feel like you have new people to reach out to, maybe you're in follow-up mode. Are you reaching out to new people? That's a great question. Check in with your sponsor on that. But it's really easy to get into follow-up mode if you feel like you don't have any new people to talk to. So, let me see here. One thing that I have talked with a couple people on my team, coaching them or whatever. Sorry. There we go. As far as like hesitations with networking. So I wanted to touch on those really quick because I think you can see the list here, but I think some people have like a scarcity mindset as far as this goes with, like I ran out of people to talk to. And so once I talk to the people that I currently know, then, I'm good to go, like that. I don't have anyone else that I can connect with. And I'm here to tell you, especially after being really intentional with my networking the last several months, that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people out there. And there are people that are super, super hungry for what we have, whether it's the products or the business. There's thousands of people out there that are hungry for this, and you are never, ever, ever going to run out of people. So, and I'll say you will never run out of people as long as you are developing the skill of networking. So networking is a learnable skill that you need in order to grow your business. That is something that you need to do. And there's nothing that is going to limit your networking because there is an abundance of people out there except for you. And if you stop yourself from learning this skill. I've also heard people say, feeling kind of weird about like not friending someone they don't know or connecting with people on Facebook. And I will say that in real life, I just was thinking about this, even as an introvert, I have never felt like I was not allowed to strike up conversation with someone, right? Like you're in the grocery store or whatever. Have you ever felt like you can't talk to somebody before? And I was thinking about that with networking. Why is it that we have that in our head for this context of social media, that it would be weird to connect with someone on social media, whereas in real life, if you are in the grocery store with someone, there's nothing wrong with smiling at them, engaging with them, talking with them, interacting with them. And your Facebook page, if you are doing this business, this is literally a connection place specifically for you to connect with thousands of people. And I believe, honestly, like my belief is that God brings people into my life for a specific reason. And it's okay to friend people. Like I just felt like I needed to release some of you with that. It is totally okay to friend people on Facebook because social media is a place where you have the opportunity to spread hope and positivity, add value to their life, make their world a better place. And there's literally nothing wrong with connecting someone just like you would if you were at the grocery store or doing whatever else in real life. So another common thing or something that I've heard before is I've had some girls that they're like, I'm posting pictures about of my kids, or just feeling weird about maybe connecting with strangers or a creeper or whatever. And one thing that I felt like helped me was no friend request is permanent. So if there's a major issue with that person, you can just unfriend them and they're not going to be permanently be your friend on Facebook. That's okay. But I also, something that helped me when I kind of got really serious about networking is I was really intentional about joining groups that had similar values to me, you know, Christian groups, Christian homeschooling moms, things like that. And the reason why is because you're already kind of vetted going into those groups. A lot of times there's questions that they ask, you know, like if you're a mom or whatever, like how many kids do you have, or, you know, whatever. So it's probably really likely that that is a Christian mom that's in that group. So that's not a perfect, like, you know, for sure, but I feel like that has made it so that I'm way more comfortable knowing, all right, I'm connecting with people that have similarities to me. So I just wanted to encourage you with that. It's not a perfect safeguard, but in a way they're already screened. And then the last thing I'll say on that too is your Facebook page, if you are using this to grow your business, this is not a diary anymore. And it's your choice whether you want to, you know, put kids' pictures on there and memories and things like that. That's not something that super bothers me a whole lot because we don't put too many personal things on there, but you need to know that this is a tool that we use to grow our business. And, you know, it's not just about connecting with friends and family anymore. This is a business page in a way now. And then just for the sake of time, I am going to move on from that. And where can you find friends? This is something that I've had a lot of people, you know, just kind of like, okay, I feel like I ran out of people. Where can I start? And there's a lot of different ways to do that. I have done several of these. You can find friends of friends. I was going to highlight really quick the people you may know. I'm sure you've seen that pop up on Facebook before. A lot of times I have found that that has mutual friends, like it's mutual friends to a Plexus person. And so make sure you're always checking for mutual friends if you are using that feature. But I really have been working on trying to get out of the same circle that I'm in. And so if you are finding that you have a lot of mutual friends with other Plexus people, it'd be a really good idea to use Facebook groups, which is what I'm going to kind of highlight mostly tonight. You can also network in person and other social media platforms, but I just wanted to touch on Facebook groups because that's what I've been really intentionally doing as well. So how to find Facebook groups to network in. In order to find a group where you can network, the first thing that you need to think about is what is your Facebook brand? And Amber Miller did a great video. It is in the BU team page. I'm not sure if it's in Pink Power or not, kind of talking about, you know, like 5 different things that you can post on. And if you can kind of figure out what your lane is in that department, then you can look for groups that relate to what you're putting on your social media. So it will be easier to engage in those groups if it's something that it's applicable to your life, you're already posting about it. And then when you are friend requesting people in those groups, so for instance, homeschooling is one of my lanes, I would say, part of my brand. So I'm in these homeschooling groups and I'm also posting about homeschooling. So I feel like that increases my friend acceptance rate because they already see that I'm adding value in that regard on my page too. So find groups related to those things that are in conjunction with your brand. So mom groups, workout groups, homeschool groups, you know, I don't know, hunting groups, DIY groups, homesteading, you name it. What is a part of your brand? And then go and just search for groups with those keywords in it. And that's the easiest way to find a group. And I would really, really encourage you to look for 2 things in a group. The group needs to be active. So there needs to be people that are actually in there and posting. And it also needs to be positive, because I have been in a lot of mom groups. I don't know anyone else who's networked here. And there's a lot of mom groups where they're bashing their husbands all the time. Their life is horrible. It's just super, super negative. And those are not people that you necessarily want to connect with. I don't know. They probably need Plexus too, but my goal right now is to look for business builders. And one thing that I want in a business builder is somebody who is positive and adding value. And if you're not adding value, you're subtracting value. So those are the 2 main things that I look for. I was in a lot of like homeschool mom groups early on that were not super active and not a ton of people in there. And so what I found with that is if you're not in a group that has a lot of activity, that probably means there's not people on social media a lot that are in that group. And so I found that I was messaging these homeschool moms and I was not getting much response back from them. So active groups that have a lot of posting going on. It doesn't have to be a huge group. I've got some groups of, 200,000. I've got some groups of a couple thousand that I'm a part of. So it doesn't have to be huge as long as it's active, and I would say positive. And then you can connect with those people. So, because the whole goal is we want people that are active on social media, right? And definitely don't just limit it to like one group. I would say definitely get into several groups. Okay, so how to add friends when you are in a group. I'm going to go through these, and then I have some like specific examples that I'll show you. So posting and adding value in groups is a great way to engage with people a little bit more. So I actually recycle posts from my personal page. So again, like one of my lanes, and you're going to see that in these examples here in a minute, is homeschooling. For you, it might be like my friend Canada is a teacher, and so she's in some teacher groups and she posts about teaching, whatever it is. My friend Linda is always in the kitchen, so she's always sharing recipes and she's in recipe groups. So I'm just going to do homeschooling because that's kind of my lane and what I have for examples. But so when I'm posting on my page about homeschooling, I'm adding value on my page, but then I can also take that and put it into groups as well, so that people who are not usually in my audience are seeing that in the group. So don't feel like when I say posting in groups and adding value, that's not something that necessarily takes a ton of time. For the sake of time, you can recycle those posts and also use them over there. Another way to connect with more people is comment on posts and give answers. And what is really interesting to me, I'm in several homeschooling groups and like mom groups right now, you're going to see repetitive questions in there. So for instance, in homeschool groups, I see 4, 5, 6 people every single day asking what curriculum to use. And so what I have done to save me a lot of time, because you don't want to, be busy doing this all day long and then not getting to your reach outs or not getting to the other parts of your IPA. So this is not something that's going to take forever. So one thing that has saved me time is I actually pre-saved answers to commonly asked questions that I was seeing in those pages. Or if I, typed out a response, I just automatically save that. And I use boards. You could just use the note section of your phone, but I have those already thoughtfully put together, purposely written out in such a way that I am standing apart from other people in the comments. So taking time to put a thoughtful answer together, but then I don't have to ever write that again. I can just pop it in there when I see the question 5 times. So that was a really easy life-saving, time-saving option for me. One thing too, when people are asking questions, like I said, do something where it's setting yourself apart when you're commenting. So for instance, when people are answering like what curriculum they recommend, they're just recommending what curriculum they use because they like it. So what I like to do is I like to ask questions and share a resource and do some, like I can add value in the comments and stand apart and not just put a quick answer in there. So I encourage you to thoughtfully craft that out, but then also save it, because then you can use it and save time later. So, and I have a whole folder, I was going to say that too. I have a whole folder in boards for networking specifically with common like homeschool questions and videos that I send people and stuff like that. So one thing that I wanted to touch on too, so if you see right here, this is one of my posts that I put up on Facebook. And so I went into the comments here. Did I skip one? Okay, no, I didn't. Yes, I did. I was going to also touch on look for people that you're able to friend request. So that's what this is here. So when I am engaging with people in the comments, I always hover over their name like this to see if I can add them as a friend. I am not going to, maybe this sounds heartless, but I'm not going to waste time engaging with someone if I cannot add them as a friend, because I am purposely going in there in order to add them as a friend. So I hover over their name, make sure that I can add them as a friend. I'll engage with them down here and then I'll click add. So wanted to throw that out there too, because I've heard that from several of my teammates. I have several of them really getting into this and doing this right now. And they're like, man, I'm going back and forth with this person and then I can't add them as a friend. So make sure you check that first. Okay, another way that you can get people talking in groups is just throwing engagement posts out there. So this is a post that I did in a homeschool group that I just joined this week. And I just did it for the purpose of trying to get people to talk. As you can see, 76 comments. So that was me replying to a lot of people too, but people love to give advice. And so, ask questions, even if it's a group that you maybe don't feel like you can add a lot of value to yet. Using an engagement post and asking them questions and then seeing who adds value. I feel like that helps you identify people who, have leadership potential and are, again, also active on social media. So this is a great way to get people talking. So this post is in a homeschool group where I am not using this curriculum. And so that is a way, like I said, I wanted to show this because I feel like this gives you the green light that if you are somebody that maybe you want to have chickens, but you don't have chickens and you add yourself into a chicken group or whatever it is, you don't necessarily have to be posting and adding value in there. You can post and ask questions and still get engagement. So like I said, this post had 76 comments. I went and I replied to all of them and I added multiple people just from this one post. It took a couple of minutes and that was my networking for the day. So engagement posts are a great way to get people talking for sure. Posting to add value in groups. So this is, a group where maybe you do have some experience and you can add value. This post blew up and I ended up editing it and did a whole live video on my page, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, but it literally was short and sweet. I took a picture of this book and the chart, and I said, you need this in your life. Super, super simple, but had a ton of engagement, had a ton of people that were friend requesting me from this. This is one of the people that messaged or commented on there. And there was people that were commenting, even like weeks later, which was pretty wild. So 27 weeks later, I circled back around and I saw that there was still people engaged on that. So I think it's good to go back and look at your posts. My friend Canada, she posted about how to organize something in her classroom. She's a teacher. She had 100 friend requests from that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute as far as getting people to friend request you too. But I think that is just huge. So this is the comment. This is a comment on that last slide that I put right there. And what I do when I'm adding value. So as you see, this is a really short post here. When I'm adding value, it doesn't have to be the whole thing. So I didn't lay out the entire homeschool schedule. I didn't give all the details. I like to give just a taste of the information. So that way I can either get them to add me on Facebook and I'll do like a post explaining more on my page, or I'll ask them to personal message me. And then we have a reason to follow up and chat more. So I wanted to highlight that too, because you don't necessarily have to write a book in order to add value. You don't have to spend 30 minutes putting a post together. Networking is a small piece of your day. It's a very powerful piece of your day, but it's not something that you need to spend the whole day doing. Okay, so I wanted to touch on too, because I have heard a lot of people say, all right, I'm sending out friend requests and I'm not necessarily getting a ton of response. So I'm not getting people that are accepting it maybe as much as what you want. So number one, are you consistently sending out friend requests? And then number two, there's some other things that you can do listed here. So I think optimizing your profile is a really big deal. So make sure your profile is complete and presents you in a positive light. Use a clear profile picture and a cover photo. Fill out your bio, interests, things like that. I don't specifically put Plexus in my profile because I don't want anybody to prejudge me and just not accept my friend request just because it says Plexus on there. I am mostly engaging with homeschool moms. And so I actually put that I work, like my job is homeschooling. So that is one thing that pops up right away because I feel like that makes the acceptance rate go up a little bit. So also make sure your voice is on your page. I think that's huge. So avoid sharing other people's posts all the time. Do not share a whole bunch of random stuff on your page. Brand specifically, look at branding videos. That Amber Miller one is definitely probably one of my favorites. Search team calls on branding, stuff like that, but make sure that you're using your voice and showing your face. So that way they see you, they know you, and they trust you. And then also make sure that you're engaging before you're adding. So like those pictures that I was sending, or I showed you right here. So like she is engaging with me here. I'm engaging back. Anytime I'm commenting back and forth with people on any of these. So this one too, anytime they are commenting, I'm commenting back and forth, and then I add them as a friend. So engage with them before you add them as a friend. And then finding posts, let me see here. So engage with them, comment, like all of that. Finding posts in a group to comment and engage on. So whether it's their posts that you're adding value, you asking questions, and then going back and forth in the comments of your posts, any of that, just being active in groups is going to be helpful. And then also if you have mutual friends, people do tend to accept your friend request more if you have mutual friends. Okay, and then that's what I was going to touch on here. So sometimes Facebook does put restrictions on your account if you send out too many friend requests, or like you sent out a lot recently, or maybe some of your past friend requests were just unanswered. There's also an option where people can, like if you friend request them, people can mark it as like unwelcomed. And so then you can be on restriction for a couple hours or a couple days. Don't be weird and spam people. It'll be helpful if you're not weird. But you know, doing the things that I just said, as far as like going back and forth with them in the comments, stuff like that, that is going to be helpful, making yourself visible, all of those things. But if you don't see the add a friend button, it's probably because they have adjusted their privacy settings. Because remember I said, check and make sure you can see the add the friend button. They probably have adjusted their privacy settings so that you cannot send them a friend request. So look for people that you can add as a friend. And sometimes, like I said, if there is a restriction, there's a couple things that you can do in order to get people to send you friend requests. I'm going to touch on that a little bit. But also I have found during times that I was restricted, if you look for friends of friends with at least 5 or more mutual friends, Facebook usually doesn't restrict that, and you can add them then as well. So wanted to just touch on that too. So how to encourage someone to send you a friend request. So if you are restricted for a while, or if you feel like you're just not getting as much response back, like when you're sending out friend requests, you can do it the other way where people are sending you friend requests as well. And so for this is just an example. I think this was today, actually. There was somebody that posted in a homeschool group, and she was asking the difference between a couple homeschool curriculums, and I use one of them. And so basically I just said, hey, I use this, and then just friend request me or PM me, and I can find a video for you, because I had found a video of somebody breaking it down that I thought was really helpful. Good luck. Okay. So this was Jade's post. So not only am I engaging with Jade, but because I'm adding value here, Sasha came along too, and she wanted the video too. So she sent me a friend request as well. And so I have Sasha as a friend, and I'm chatting with her too. So I got 2 friend requests just by adding that value. One thing too that I have found, I do have some resources that I send people in regards to homeschooling that are mine, but kind of like how we use third-party tools with, you know, like our products and stuff like that. I literally just go on YouTube and I find breakdowns of like curriculum or whatever, so I don't have to spend the time making it, and I send it to people, and I'm like the liaison. I don't have to spend time doing it. It's adding value to them, and we connect on Facebook. So it all works. So, and like I said before, I do have a folder in boards sharing common content for homeschooling. For me, for you, it could be homesteading or teaching or cooking or whatever. But I have those pre-written responses, and that will make it more streamlined. And then I think that when you are adding value and you're sharing resources with people too, at the end of the day, like we're doing all of this because eventually we want to be able to share Plexus with them. You are already building trust with them and providing insight and solutions to them, which is great for when you are ready to share Plexus with them, because they're already going to trust you. So here's another one where somebody was asking questions about the curriculum that I do. And so I just said, hey, I do this. I actually am thinking about directing it. Would love to chat anytime. Feel free to send me a message. or a friend request. And I have found that people friend request me and message me all the time. And it took me just 2 seconds to write that. So encourage you to not just think about like sending out friend requests, but feel free to ask for that too. And then I just wanted to touch on what it looks like to do this, because I feel like it's a lot to think about as far as like, okay, how much time does this take? What exactly does that entail? And remember how I said that, I got that Sarah Robbins CD and she said spend 85% of your time recruiting. And that's what flipped the switch for me. So I knew I needed to up my recruiting in order to see the growth that I wanted. And what I'll say too is right around that same time, I watched a momentum video in the Pink Power Team page. I don't even remember who did it. And they were talking about how upping your recruiting solves everything. It almost solves all your problems in your business because you have new people who are you're bringing in that are excited, new blood to work with in regards to duplication. You have fresh customers that you can care for, get results. They're excited. They're sharing, all those things. That just upping your recruiting ups the energy and solves a lot. But it really hit me that I needed to increase my networking in order to increase my recruiting. So I just wanted to end with that and say that if you want movement in your business, if you want that momentum and serious growth, it really starts with building more connections and talking with people more and getting really, really serious about this. So this is really, really simple. Like I put this call together and I'm like, this is super, super simple stuff. But anything that's simple is really simple to not do too. So get serious about this. And what I decided to do was I was going to network consistently at least 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And it doesn't need to be hours. And like I said before, it does not need to be something that is replacing your recruiting or replacing your posting or whatever. It needs to be in addition to. So set a specific time for it, schedule it in so that you're consistent. So whatever your office hours are, whatever your workday looks like, you need to plan an extra 20 minutes. Don't have this taking up anything else. And as you are consistently doing it, you're going to get faster at it. You're going to catch more posts to engage with. You're going to figure out how to post and how to add value, because I just talked about homeschooling and you might be like, that is not my lane at all. So it might take some time to find some good groups too. It definitely did for me. Like I said, I was in some really negative Nancy mom groups for a while. I was in some homeschooling groups where I swear all of those moms just didn't believe in cell phones or something. I don't know, because none of them were messaging me back. So make sure that you are in active and positive groups. And then, like I said earlier, do not replace this with your current IPA in this. So this is in addition to your day. And I woke up because anytime you're starting a new habit, it takes more brain power. And I feel like it takes more intentionality. So I committed for 3 months to wake up at 5 a.m. to do this networking before my kids got up every day. So I had zero excuse for growing my network. So wanted to encourage you, find some time. It doesn't necessarily have to be 5 a.m., but this is a new skill. If this is something that you haven't done before, you're going to need zero distraction, set it apart, and really focus on it. And as soon as I saw that networking was a precursor to recruiting, and recruiting is a precursor to momentum, that's where I saw the value of it. And that's when I intentionally went after networking intentionally. So I hope that from me saying that, you see the value as well and you take it seriously too. Like I said, it's super, super simple, but it's super effective, and it is absolutely worth your time. So thank you guys for joining me, and I hope you have a good night.